The Eddie mic was muted that whole time.
Oh, really? So no one could hear us?
Which was
Great.
a blessing, I'm sure, for
Yeah,
them.
all right. So
Sorry,
we've got
guys.
the
No,
new setup.
there actually is sound.
Yeah, this is more random than it's ever been. All right, I got to be careful not to look down there.
Yes.
All right, we got a lot to go, so we should dive in.
There's no sound.
There
no
should be sound. There
still?
should be sound now. There should be
Okay.
sound now.
Sorry about the
Sorry
lack
about
of
the no
sound. We're
sound.
gonna mime this entire update.
Sounds like 3 syllables.
Yeah. All right, so Mandy update. So Mandy has hit the theaters and has been
Hard.
unleashed on the world. Yes. Yeah, and don't say we didn't warn you, because we did. We even created a new label for this film, Legion Midnight, and I think that was actually a pretty good foreshadowing of this movie.
Yes, it is the ultimate midnight movie.
The most midnightiest of all midnight films. So here it is. Mandy is out there. Hopefully some of you have seen it. We know a lot of people went out for the meetups, which were amazing. Those pins were awesome. Mm-hmm. Really, really amazing pins. And, you know, considering the kind of release that it's getting from RLJ, it's exceeding everyone's expectations. Yeah. So yeah. Congratulations to the Legion for like really, you know, hammering it home, helping to get the word out there. We have yet another, you know, really glowing reference as part of our kind of company with SpectraVision. The producers on that film are very happy. They love working with us. They want to work with us again. And we should all be happy because, you know, we're doing a good job getting that film out.
Yeah, this one's been such a journey because we invested back before Sundance, and when it was just a script, and, you know, we always say, like, it's really hard to know, like, you don't know. There's no way to know if a movie is going to be great or not. Like, everybody starts out trying to make a great movie, but by definition, most people never achieve that. And so for us to get involved, for it to get accepted to Sundance, we're like, oh my God, we were over the moon.
We want to make this a case study, like where we can follow the timeline and just all the amazing things that's happened with it. And, you know, as Jeff mentioned, like, this is the earliest we've invested in a project. So, like, you know, we took a big chance on it. And, you know, I think financially, like, it still remains to be seen, but very promising, I would say, at this point. But, you know, critically and from an impact standpoint, it's exactly kind of the type of thing that we want to be known for.
Exactly. This is a sort of movie that's it's less like a big mainstream release, obviously. And really, I think the question for a movie like this is, does it become a cult classic? Right. And I think that it's well on its way.
Can we help it become a cult classic?
Legion M has been a huge part in just helping make that happen. And so we've had nothing but great feedback from our partners on it, and like I said, we're just over the moon with how well it's been received. And for those of you who saw it, thank you. You know, for those of you, if you haven't watched it yet, if you want to, it's available on demand. It's playing in your living room, and there's no better way to play it in your living room than to go to get a Mandy Party in a Box.
Party in a Box, yes. Get your Party in a Box to watch the, I mean, those things have been flat. We sold out of our initial allocation of how many party boxes we thought we would have, and we're now on order number 2. So
which is good news for Legion M. It's bad news for Eric and his girlfriend who
oh my God, well,
have to assemble all of them.
Yeah, everyone should just give a quick bow to Eric right now, because he is on the merch side. You know, one of the things we've mentioned this before, but on Mandy, one of the other cool components of it is that we're the official merchandise provider, and so we've already put some products out. We have actually some really cool new stuff coming as well, but the merch sales have been really strong. Like, you know, I think the Legion has been great, and, you know, but I think even outside the Legion, we're getting a decent amount of sales. Like, Eric is underwater. He's doing an amazing job of keeping up. But we've had to bring in some help to make sure that we deliver.
Yes, these are the problems we want to have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and merch, you know, it's an interesting new kind of an unfolding aspect of our business model. That, you know, Mandy, our upside in Mandy is now sort of spread across multiple different monetization capabilities. First and foremost is just how well does the film do in, you know, theatrical and VOD. We're participating in that, but then also we're participating in the soundtrack. Speaking of which, we have the vinyl. We should be getting the vinyl pretty soon to put in our storefront, but it's available now. And, you know, we're a shareholder in the soundtrack as well. So, you know, we want to, and it's an amazing soundtrack, and we've got great plans for the soundtrack. But now with merchandise as well, it's just another component. So we have, you know, now 3 different ways for us to kind of monetize or find our kind of get our money back plus a return on investment with Mandy.
Yeah, so it helps us. It also helps the project, which is great. Obviously, we're sharing all the merchandise revenue back with SpectraVision.
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
so it's one of these things that makes us a more attractive partner to other people with their films because we've got this added capability.
Yeah, and they've been great to work with. I mean,
Amazing.
you know, we get very quick turnaround on approvals. And on that note, we do have some really cool stuff that we're going to be delivering, and actually some exclusive stuff for Halloween. We're not going to announce it right now because we think Panos probably should announce it himself. But we're working directly with him and the SpectraVision team to come up with some cool products. And so we'll have a couple different phases where we're releasing new things into the storefront. One of them is going to be in time for Halloween. And if you plan to go trick-or-treating, you're not going to want to miss this one.
You're definitely going to want them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think the hardest part of dealing with SpectraVision and all that sort of stuff on these items is getting Cheddar Goblin's approval, or stuff, and like
so
that's
hard.
a real problem.
He's hard to pin down, and he's hard to understand, you know. And he's got very peculiar taste, you know. But he's also, I would say, as hard as he is, because he's also huge now.
Oh my God! Yes,
you know.
There was an article, I don't know if you guys saw this. My favorite thing, I think, of Mandy is the article where the guy lays out in like an academic sort of form how the Cheddar Goblin scene in Mandy is the greatest cinematic moment of 2018. I mean, can you do any better than that?
Is. And it really was. I mean, if you think of it, it's a tipping point in the movie. But, you know, I also love that there was an interview with Cheddar Goblin, which is
short-lived.
Short-lived interview.
Short-lived. If you happen to catch it,
like literally taking on a life of its own, and we're very proud of him for, you know, it is a him, right? I mean, I'm not sure.
I assume so. I've never checked. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I don't want it.
It's it's the Goblin.
It's kind of a weird thing to ask somebody.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't
excuse me. You know,
it's hard to tell.
So,
but anyway,
it is great. You know, one other thing that's really cool about Mandy has been all the fan art.
Oh,
and I actually have a meeting today. Terry Pignon and Eric Lamb and I. We want to build a little fan art hall of fame on the Legion M website, because there's been such amazing stuff, like videos and photos and illustrations,
some of the reenactment videos and the cosplay
and the guys that, you know, built like the little clay action figure.
I saw something yesterday which was like a Black Skulls drawing. I mean, there's some amazing
really
stuff
cool
out
stuff.
there. It's great that, you know, something this creative can inspire more creative. And so I think a Hall of Fame is a really good idea. It'll be fun.
So
super fun. All right. So anything else on Mandy? I think we covered most everything there. And one thing to mention is that because of the amount of excitement and enthusiasm, and you know, one thing I like to do is if you go into Twitter and do a hashtag Mandy or hashtag Mandy movie, you can just see all the discussion of people like reacting to the film. But it's getting more theaters, so it's getting it's going to be in the Vista this weekend, starting on Friday. I know there's a screening Friday night, and they're literally adding new theaters, which is kind of cool. And you know, and we're also in discussions about, you know, what are some other ways for us to like bring Mandy around in theaters, and because it, you know, it's the type of movie that really should be experienced in a theater. I mean, it's best experienced that way.
Well, and you know,
or with a party in a box.
Yes, I completely agree. But just for those of you that aren't aware, right, like our role in Mandy is there's kind of 2 parts to it. One is we invested in the project, so we're, you know, producers of the film. along with, we're a very small part of that, along with SpectraVision and U Media and XYZ Films and all the other partners. And so what happens is the distribution rights are owned by a company called RLJ. So they're the ones that book the theaters, and they're responsible for distributing on iTunes and Amazon and wherever it's going to stream, which is I think on Shudder, correct? And so that's not something that we control. Like, that's something that they control, and we work as best as we can kind of within the parameters that they set to support it. But we're actually, in a perfect world, and we can't guarantee this because we haven't gotten there yet, but in a perfect world, we'd like to, now that it's out there, like, it's still available on demand, but there's a lot of people that want to see this in a theater. And especially if you can get together with a big group of people that feel the same way. And so we'd love to spearhead showings around the country, or maybe, you know, have like an official Mandy Day. We've talked about, going on tour with a bunch of the props from the film. And so we don't have anything that we can speak to yet on that. It's just, I want you guys to know that that's something that we're looking at, trying to figure out how we can make it work, and how we can also make it work financially for the Legion, so that it's business. It's good business.
It goes back to our motto, which is having fun can be good business. And, you know, going to see this film in a theater with other people is fun, and it can also be good business for us, you know, so. Quick question from the live stream. David Hooker asks, are there any Mandy theater releases in Canada, or is because Legion M US based, does that factor into the limits of distribution? There's a separate distributor in Canada.
And in every country in the world, frankly. So,
and they did do it. I know they did the Thursday night, and I don't know. I mean, it would, let us come back, but I know that we had a dialogue with them, and they even ordered some of the pins and boxes. So
and
giveaways up there.
And then it's coming out like in the UK. I want to say it's in October like 12th or something. And you know, we got requests from the distributor in Japan to see if they could get some of our sweet Mandy pins. And so it'll be releasing kind of all over the world. Most of our efforts are U.S. based because we're primarily U.S. focused. We are going to try and do some support in the UK this time.
Interest in the film is worldwide.
We get revenue from everything worldwide.
All right, cool. So that's it, Mandy. We're gonna make a really
cool hold on one second. Kendall Burns says a cult classic after 1 week. Come on, guys. Well, I think that's actually, I wouldn't call it a cult classic yet. I would call it a cult classic in the making.
In the making,
but if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, if you hashtag it, if you look at the amount of fan art that is generated, like this goes above and beyond most other movies out there, even stuff that gets a wide release, mainstream release.
No, and a lot of people we're meeting with, I mean, you know, what we're hearing is that the film is outperforming expectations, which is amazing. That's what we want Legion M to stand for, is to, you know, help deserving films like Mandy outperform expectations.
Exactly.
That's our maybe that's our new motto.
Yeah, I like that. Right. The world's first fan-owned company that helps deserving films outperform expectations.
There it is. Yeah.
Totally rolls off the tongue.
Bingo. All right, let's go. Fantastic Fest.
Yeah, so Terry, both of the Terrys were at Fantastic Fest. I heard amazing things from both of them. They had Cheddar Goblin with them there, and so that it was a constant draw from everybody. We also released 4 Legion M bumpers. So for the first time ever, we actually sponsored Fantastic Fest. We were one of the sponsors. We had an amazing opportunity with them.
Oh yeah, no.
So there was a Legion M theater where Halloween premiered and a bunch of the big movies premiered. I think it was the largest theater there.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's movie premiered there.
And so all through the week, all the filmmaker Q&As were done in front of there, and they played these little 15-second intro videos that we created there. We're going to release those on our website really so everybody can see them.
They're great.
They're a lot of fun talking about what Legion M is. We were on the step and repeat for every single interview and every single PR opportunity. And so it was the feedback that it's a very small film festival. So, you know, it's not huge like Sundance. But what's great about it is that there's a really high concentration of filmmakers and producers and distributors and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really great opportunity for us to make some connections in a really organic, fun way.
Well, and it's a really
Fantastic
targeted
Fest.
audience too.
Yeah.
I mean, the audience that's there is, the perfect audience to
It is.
market Legion M2.
Yes, and if you haven't ever
be
gone to
affiliated and
Fantastic Fest,
associated with
definitely you should put that on your list. And all this stuff came up super last minute this year. Like they reached out to us just a couple weeks before the festival, and there was an opportunity, and so we jumped on it. But next time we'd love to do something kind of big there, because it's such a fun festival.
Well, and there are some ideas, some cool ideas about like creating something and like sponsoring something in a way where the end goal is actually producing a film.
Yes.
With some other partners, maybe Alamo and some other people.
So
those are just in the early discussions.
Those are the other thing that I want to mention is that we opened up Scout again, and again we did this kind of prototype sort of way. It's kind of our next iteration of Scout. And so if you go to the Legion M homepage, there's a button there, it'll click. And even if you aren't at the festival, there are, I think, 60 or 80 films that have trailers. And you can go in there and you can rate and evaluate those trailers. And you can also make your prediction as to how you think others will rate and evaluate those trailers. And this is
keep doing it.
Yeah, so it's still available now.
While she was there, Terry was using that data to guide what movies to go see.
Yeah.
Which is, in this whole Scout program, which is, as Jeff mentioned, it's just in its infancy right now. But honestly, this is a huge strategic advantage to us. And as we kind of exercise this and get it kind of fine-tuned, when we're able to go to Sundance and go to Toronto, and we have partners and we're going to look to acquire something, the ability to not only have all of us be giving input to guide us on what films to watch, but then to have people there that are, beyond kind of just a handful of people that we can afford to have there, but having potentially hundreds of people giving feedback on films, it's a massive advantage. And it's the type of advantage that really big distributors will come looking for.
Yeah.
They, if we can get this part of the muscle really fine-tuned, I think it's something that, the top distributors are going to say, you know what, we need to be partnering with Legion M.
There's a lot of people that are very interested in this sort of capability. And so when you go into Scout, so like I said, you can still do it now. I encourage you to try it out if you've never tried it before. It's fun. You don't have to do every single movie. Just do a handful. Do whatever's convenient for you. And I think what's great about it is that there's really two things that we are looking to do. The first is we're getting data from everybody, and that helps us guide every decision that we make. We get to take advantage of the wisdom of the crowd. We get to steer the ship in the direction that our shareholders want to steer it.
Exactly.
The other thing, though, is that you'll see in Scout, there's almost always a question that also says, okay, well, aside from what you personally think of this, what do you think everybody else will think of that?
Right.
And that's a way that we are using to evaluate how good a job you and every other Scout out there has of having your finger on the pulse and being able to predict, because that's an extremely valuable sort of skill. And as this evolves, what we expect is to be able to start inviting the people that continually show that not only it doesn't matter what your taste is, what matters is your ability to predict everybody else's taste, and invite you into kind of our elite Scout program where there's more opportunities to help us, when we go to evaluate a film. When we get a screener for a film, for example, we can't show that to hundreds or thousands of people, but we could probably show it to 5 or 10 people.
Right.
And we want to be able to show it to people that have demonstrated that they are good at predicting what the overall Legion's going to think.
Ultimately, this is what sets successful companies in Hollywood apart. And the distributor side, this is what sets them apart. A distributor that's really good at picking films that the market will, support is better than one that's not. I mean, it's just simple. It's like that's
where the rubber meets the road.
And so if we can excel in that area because we have a community of people, giving input, it's a huge differentiator for us. I mean, honestly, I think it's one of the key elements of our business model.
That's right. All right, we should move on.
Keep going. So New York Comic-Con next week. Believe it, it's next week.
It just keeps coming.
God. So we got Terry, David, Terry Pignon, Claire, all going to be out there. And if you're in the area, you should come down, check it out. We've got a panel. I don't even remember when the panel is, but someone can post it in the comments. But we've got a new announcement.
An exciting announcement. This is a good one.
Yeah, this is a really good one. We're excited to share it. It's been, one of these things that we've been kind of wanting to talk about for a while, and next week we get to
the cat will be out of the bag.
And then after that, right on the heels of that, October 26th through 28th, we got LA Comic-Con, and the CEO of LA Comic-Con, Chris, has been he's a huge advocate of Legion M, and you may have read that we announced a relationship with them, and we've got a huge space.
Enormous.
And it's going to be awesome. I mean, if you're in the area, you definitely don't want to miss LA Comic-Con.
Yeah.
October 26th through the 28th.
It's kind of one of those deals where, when we were negotiating our deal, we're like, oh gosh, we got to get some space from those guys because we want to exhibit there. And then he gives us the space, and we're like, oh my God, how are we going to fill that space, right? And it's massive. So anyway, we got a lot of good ideas. Unfortunately, we got a really big car.
Yeah, we got a big car. We've got, potentially some cool stuff cooking
big car and even bigger ideas. That's right.
Yep. Oh, and then Sundance they moved it up. I think it's starting. Is it a week earlier this year, Leisha? I think
it's a week later.
Or a week later. Yeah, that's it. It's a week later. Yeah. So, but we are still finalizing our details, but it's almost 100% that we're going to be there. We're going to do a lounge again. It'll be similar to, if not very close to what we did last year. We had so much fun, but we'd love to have more Legion M people out there. Really get your plans in place. And I know that Sundance may seem like kind of, a really lofty, expensive undertaking. Honestly, for us, and Leisha can attest to this, to travel, from California, the my round trip ticket last year was less than $150.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We share a condo with a bunch of people, and we'll have the forums and do that again so people can hook up. It is not that expensive to stay there, right? And then you don't need to buy the expensive Sundance pass. If you can, that's great. If you can afford it, it's a really good way to experience the festival. But if you go and you sign up, you can also wait in line. They have a very pretty good system, sophisticated system where you don't have to wait in line unless it'll tell you what your odds are, and you can sign up in advance for the wait list. It's actually really cool. And then the best part is that if we do our lounge the way we did last year, it's literally free food and booze, right? So and not all of them, but a lot of them are set up that way. So you could practically go and just eat for free.
Yeah,
eat
your way through Sundance at all the lounges.
Anyways, don't be intimidated. Sundance, it sounds very prestigious, and it is really a lot of fun, and it's an amazing event. But don't be turned off by the, it sounds too luxury. Yeah, there are some inexpensive ways to do it and still have a blast.
Yeah, I know that Leisha's got some lines on some inexpensive hotels, and like I said, we'll have to set up a little
Leisha's
forum
renting
group.
A bus and driving out there, and she's going to charge $30 per person.
Yeah,
you might want to think about that.
But
anyway,
it's
but it'd be great to have a lot of into Kick
so
Scout
much
into
fun.
gear there.
Yeah.
Really let's kind of get Scout fine tuned, and then let's use it in January, and in the meantime we'll go try to find a partner that wants to do it with us.
That's right.
Yep. All right, cool. Round 3 and 4. We should talk about
so round 3, we sent out an email to most of the folks. So at this point, round 3 is in the process of closing. We've accepted the first half, roughly, of the investors in round 3 into, and they've got their CARTA certificates.
Yep.
For most of the rest of you, you got an email yesterday saying that, hey, your investment is good. Don't worry about it, because I know a lot of people are concerned. We are also actively reaching
Jeff
out.
and I didn't take the money and run off to Vegas. And just so everyone knows,
that money is still in escrow.
We don't even have access to the money.
Exactly.
Until we give you your shares, we don't have access to the money. But we are planning to follow through. So And well, it's I mean, it's in WeFunders' hands right now.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of closing activities that have to go, and there's a lot of checks that they have to do. And we have over 4,000 investors in round 3, which makes us literally probably 10 or 30 times larger than the average company on WeFunder. And there's also a complication because round 3 was oversubscribed. So we had more people that wanted to invest than we had room for. And it would be like the easy thing to do would be to just cut it off and say, no, anybody after this, sorry, you don't get in. We're going to give you your money back. But with our no fan left behind policy, we're working very hard. We've got a new round, which is being qualified by the SEC. So that whole complication, you know, has added.
Well, and that way, hopefully we don't need to like give any money back or reduce anyone's investments. We can just convert them.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, so please be patient. We appreciate your patience. We're actually way ahead of schedule, right? Like
compared
last
to normal,
time, it took 6 months to get through this. This time we should be done.
We need to measure
at least half this time.
But you know, and then there are some though that still have issues, right? There are a handful.
Yeah, there's a handful. I want to say it's like 60 or 80
directly.
people. WeFunder's already been reaching out to them. We're going to reach out to you as well. And if you don't want to invest and like
that's fine.
You intentionally didn't send in your money, that's totally fine. But we just want to make sure that you're not confused.
People that you know think they funded or thought they funded, and turns out they didn't. And
because
before we cancel it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we just want to make sure that they know about it.
So we go out of our way to try and make sure that there's no like screw cases where it's like,
where
you know,
find out later.
Exactly. So anyway, so all that's going on. In the meantime, we've also opened reservations for round 4. If you want to make a non-binding reservation, it's non-binding means that you're not committing to invest. We're committing to you if you make a reservation that we're going to allocate a spot for you, and so you will have a priority access period where you get to invest. But you'll have the opportunity once we release the final price and terms. You'll have the opportunity to review that and decide if you want to invest or not. So those are available on the Legion M website. If you'd like to make a reservation, you can do it. And if not, that's fine too.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, you know, we're going to keep raising money. I mean, we have so many cool projects that we want to invest in. And, you know, we want to keep putting larger bets behind projects. I mean, it would have been nice with Mandy to have had more money to put into it. But, you know, it was one of our biggest bets. But, you know, as we raise more money, we're going to be making, you know, even bigger bets and continuing to find amazing projects.
Yes. Well, that, and of course, our main focus as a company right now is growing the size of the Legion. Because
so we're in that phase 2 right now, which is about accelerating our growth. Like we've proven that this model works and that we can have an impact and we can help films like That Samaritan and Mandy and Colossal. But as we grow, you know, right now, like our main number 1 priority is growth. You know, the bigger we get, the bigger that impact is, the more valuable the company becomes, and the more successful we'll be in not only finding projects, but backing projects, monetizing projects. The whole model kind of depends on how big that Legion is.
So the good news is you know, we almost doubled it from year 1 to year 2. It looks like we're on track to more than double from year 2 to year 3. And then if we can continue that trend into year 4 and so on, or year 4 and year 3, year 3
we can't
in the future, then we will be, as we say in a forward-looking statement, unstoppable.
Let's do it.
All right.
Any questions?
Yeah, there's a couple questions here. Michelle Carter said, "Did you get Rooftop to turn down the tunes today?"
They did. Yeah.
Thankfully,
last time they started the tunes after we had started.
Yes,
so
right after
when we were setting up, it was quiet, and then.
Not only that, I showed this at the beginning when the sound was off, but we've got a mic now. We've got an actual mic.
Fancy mic.
And we're not using a cell phone as a camera. So give us your feedback.
A little bit of too much light coming in over here.
As to whether like this is better than usual or worse than usual, because we could still return the mic if it's a problem. Sundance party to bus. Sundance party train. We got a couple people commenting on that.
Leisha's on it. Leisha's working it. Leisha's already making her plans to be at Sundance.
10 people already on the list for hotel groups.
She's got 10 people already.
That's awesome.
Cool. And that's in the forums?
Actually, it was on my personal page.
Okay.
I'll post something
Yeah, let's
tomorrow.
get something going in the forums.
Alicia Davis wants to know, will the Mandy pins be for sale?
That's a really good question. And I think it looks like we're probably going to need to order some more of them because we've had so much demand. And Canada wanted some, and then Japan wanted some. And I think, you know, we are going to have some for sale, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We're planning to. We're asking. No. We're planning to. We're also planning to do another special edition pin that'll be available with the DVD. The DVD comes out October 30th, the day before Halloween. And we plan to have a pin. We're going through the approval process right now to have something that we can include with that.
Yeah, we have actually, I think I mentioned this earlier, we have a kind of phase 2 of Mandy merch that I think we're pretty much signed off on. I mean, we're waiting for one more approval, and then we'll be getting it into the storefront, letting everyone know. And then we also have these kind of really cool exclusive items that we're going to be doing as well.
Yeah.
So Mandy's like, it's such a perfect project for merchandise. I mean, especially those 44 shirts have been selling like hockey.
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, I think it's such a cool shirt too. I really like it. And the viewing party boxes I mentioned. Actually, the viewing party boxes is generating almost more revenue than the 44.
That's excellent.
Shirts.
That's good.
Incredible. Yeah.
That's good because we also know that those viewing party boxes usually lead to a viewing party,
Right, exactly.
which leads to more people seeing. That helps it turn into a cult classic. So, boom.
Mark our words.
That's
Cult
right.
classic in
That's
the
right.
making.
All right, last question because we're already a couple minutes over. Adam Cox wants to know, would you know what the total shares issued by Legion M is? I don't know that offhand, Adam.
Not yet.
If you look at our website, you'll see the latest update, which was prior to this last round in the SEC filings. We're just about, actually, Friday is the deadline. We're going to be releasing our semi-annual report, and it'll be in there.
That won't include. I mean, the final shares will happen. Like if we do a card out,
that's true.
Will happen
after round 3 closes.
Round 3.
Yeah.
But so when we open round 4, we should have that.
Yes, actually, that's exactly right. When we open round 4, it'll be there.
So it's coming.
All right. I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any other questions, put them down here, and we'll try and get to them later today. Otherwise, onward and upward.
Let's do it. Onward and upward. See you guys.